Vegas Golden Knights fans, it's been 2 months, 2 days, about 12 hours, 45 minutes, and 15 seconds since the last time the VGKbugeyeGuy did a podcast. It's the summertime. It took a little break, but now there's been enough Golden Knights news out there that it's time to record a podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 41 of...
Welcome to Knights Nation, an unofficial podcast discussing all things Vegas Golden Knights. A show designed for the fans, by a fan. Produced locally in Las Vegas, Nevada, home of the Fortress. Weekly episodes include segments Numbers Don't Lie, VGK Rewind, and What the Puck. And now, here's your host, the VGKbugeyeGuy.
What's going on, Vegas Golden Knights fans?
That's right, the VGKbugeyeGuy is back. And yeah, welcome to episode 41 of Knights Nation podcast. I hope everyone's having a good summer. I hope everyone's had enough time to decompress and get over the fact that we got screwed over in Game 7 of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Congratulations to the St. Louis Blues and David Perron for winning the Cup and beating the Sharks. You know, it's been kind of a crazy summer. Just, you know, I decided after that game, there was so much negativity on social media after that game. And, you know, I was on it for a couple days, primarily because I, like everyone else, was waiting to hear from Cody Eakin. And the officials, what were the refs were they gonna be punished? And they ended up getting punished. But shortly after that, I took a break. I was like, I'm done, and I haven't done that in a long time. And I recommend this to everyone out there listening. Take a break from social media. I went a good 2.5 weeks of not going on at all, zero contact, and then really for the last month, I love Facebook, but I don't really look at the post. I go to Facebook until I find a video, and I click on the video because, you know, once you click on the video, it brings up other videos, and because the internet and the way it's set up and the algorithms that track what you type on your keyboard, and it plays the perfect videos. I've talked about this in the past when I was referring to watching videos on the toilet. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, that's really all I use it for. I scroll through to find a couple videos, watch funny videos, and that's really what I use the social media for. Now, last couple days, obviously, we're getting close to free agency. If you guys don't know, 2 days ago, the day Eric Haula got traded, the Bugeyeguy did a podcast. Yep. This is the second time I'm recording episode 41 of Knights Nation podcast, and it was because I got my notes together. There's a lot of stuff we have to cover. It was right at about an hour, which is perfect for how I want my podcast to be. Now, obviously, there's no games to talk about, but there was a lot of stuff to cover. I get done. I go outside, take a quick break. I come back in. I'm loading it literally into my editing software. I'm getting ready to start edit the podcast, edit the audio. Bling, Twitter, bling, Twitter, bling, text message, bling, text message. Eric Haula traded. And here's the problem, folks. The Bugeyeguy, I talked about trades. Sure, I talked about Colin Miller probably getting shipped out of town, and as of right now, he hasn't yet, but I'm monitoring Twitter as I'm recording. I thought maybe they would move the Clarkson contract. Maybe someone like Cody Eakin might be available on the trade market. He had a good year last year. I know a lot of you guys. And real quick, here's the problem with Vegas Golden Knights fans. I've noticed this with a lot of you. Because you're new hockey fans. You love the team. That inaugural season, it was awesome. I know, I was there. Last year, killer fans. Everyone's into it. I know. But hey, guess what? It's a business. People get older. England, Belmar. People move on. Teams move on. It's a business. They got to make business decisions. And the only reason that I didn't mention, I take that back. I did talk briefly that Eric Haula could be traded, But I thought that most teams wouldn't take the chance because the gruesome leg injury he had last year. And I know he was like a week to 10 days from coming back, and he probably would have played in the second round. But I didn't know if teams were going to be willing to take that risk. But having Eric Haula get shipped out to the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for a fifth-round pick and Nicholas Waugh, who I believe it's Waugh. If you call it Roy Waugh, Nicholas Waugh, he's like right on the cusp of being an NHL player. You know, he's played in the AHL, did good. Unfortunately, his team beat our freaking AHL team in the Calder finals, but kudos. We got him, and a lot of people are going, I can't believe we gave up Eric Haula for this guy, the AHL guy. I mean, Eric Haula scored 29 goals 2 years ago. Yeah, folks, you got to cut the cord. You got to be willing to go, you know what? Players are going to move on. And this was clearly a salary cap decision. And what I like to tell Golden Knights fans that don't really follow the team, like coworkers that want to like give me a couple sentences, like to talk hockey like they think they know hockey. And I'm like, okay, fine, let's go. This was 100% salary cap driven. That's it. And I tell them, oh, you're sad or you're mad or you're upset that Eric Haula got traded. I go, do you like the fact that you have Wild Bill here for 8 years? Well, yeah. Do you like the fact that, and you only got to see a little taste of it, you know, post-trade deadline, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be excited about what Mark Stone's going to do, right? Oh, yeah, I like that too. Or what about the fact that, and I'm just going to rattle off some names here real quick. Patches, $7 million. Stasny, $6.5 million. Stone, $9.5 million. Marchie, $5 million. Riley, just over $5 million. I'm talking Riley Smith. And now Wild Bill, $5.9 million. Let's go on the blue line. What we got? Shea back there signed around $5 million. We got Schmitty just under $6 million. Nabber at $2.5 million. John freaking Merrill, $1.375 million. Balla. We got like our core. Alex Tuck on the third line, locked up at a fair deal, in my opinion. We have our team, the core of our team, with Marc-Andre Fleury at $7 million. Long-term, locked up long-term, at the right ages. If you listen to McPhee's post-game conference, post-Wild Bill signing news conference, he feels good. And I'm like, as a fan, I'm going, dude, GM George McPhee, and I can only call you GM George McPhee for just a little bit because eventually that is going to change because the Golden Knights refused to let Kelly McCrimmon go to Seattle. He says, there's no way we're going to give up all our expansion draft and our expansion team secrets to Seattle. Heck no. Hey, McCrimmon, there's rumors of you being a GM at other teams, but we're going to give it to you in the Vegas Golden Knights because old GM, he's just going to move on up to El Presidente. So good. Now getting back to it, GM George McPhee, you know, these are salary cap moves, and he said there's going to be more. I mentioned it. Colin Miller's going. He's gone. The funny thing is, a lot of people are like, why would anyone trade for Colin Miller? Like, I got a couple buddies that don't like Colin Miller, and I'm not the biggest fan of Colin Miller either. Believe me, I'm not a fan. He has a great shot, a bomb, a rocket, a missile. He has an incredible shot from the blue line. But he's like Fulton Reed from the Mighty Ducks, man. 1 out of 10. How many of those bomb shots are wide left, wide right, too high? And I like Colin Miller. How many times do they pass back to the blue line and jumps over his stick? More than the other defenders on the team. So when he got benched in the playoffs, I was not surprised. You shouldn't have been surprised either. But here's the thing. I'm on Twitter right now. There are all kinds of Vancouver Canuck fans, Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's see, who else is on here? A lot of Vancouver and a lot of Toronto. Anaheim. A lot of these, the Jets need to acquire. All these people from fans from other teams are like duking it out, arguing, fighting on Twitter over Colin frickin' Miller. Now, here's the upside to Colin Miller in this whole trade deal. I think he's overpaid at $3.875 million a year. But to other teams, that's sweet. That's a bargain deal, and he's under contract for 2 more years. So for other teams, they can get a solid top 6 right defenseman with a nice shot at the blue line for under $4 million. Now, Vegas just isn't going to give them away, although everybody knows that Vegas is in a salary cap situation. Everybody knows Vegas is over the cap, and if you are on Twitter at all, and I'm telling you, after taking the social media break and then coming back and sitting on Twitter, I'm like, oh, it's like it just went on without me. Same stuff. But anyways, on Twitter, you're going to see that teams on here are duking it out. I swear, all these guys want Miller, and they're thinking that because Vegas is over the cap, that they're just going to give Miller away. But no, there's like legit interest in Miller, and teams are willing to give up. And here's kind of the problem. A lot of these people on Twitter are saying that, we should trade this guy to Vegas for Miller, and Vegas isn't looking for that. I mean, Vegas is probably, in my opinion, they're looking to trade Colin Miller and maybe attach Clarkson's last year of his $5.25 million debacle. Maybe ship Miller and that in exchange for maybe a prospect and a pick, maybe a couple picks. I mean, there's enough teams out there, I think, that McCrimmon and McPhee are getting phone calls, and they're probably just trying to find the best deal because at the end of the day, they don't really care. What Vegas, if Vegas is already committed to move them, they don't care who they move them to. Well, unless if it's like the freaking Ducks, Kings, or Sharks, that would kind of suck. I mean, those are rivals or Pacific Division close rivals. We don't want him to go there. But if they give us first-round pick, I don't give a shit where he goes. Let him go wherever he needs to go. I mean, honestly, yeah. So that's going to happen, and there is interest out there. And I'm monitoring Twitter as we're doing this just to kind of see if a trade comes through. All right, moving on to my notes for episode 41. Talked about my vacation away from social media, so I'm going to quickly talk. And I know this isn't Golden Knights, but hey, my podcast, summer, off-season, deal with it. I took a vacation. Me and the old lady and the kids, we got in the car, we drove to the airport, we got on an aeroplane, and we flew from Las Vegas to a town called Nashville, Smashville, home of the Predators, and they're probably going to get Matt Duchene here in a couple days when free agency starts. But anyways, then we get in the rental car and we drive on down to Huntsville, Alabama. If you've ever been to Huntsville, Alabama, you know there ain't much in Huntsville, Alabama. There's a lot of money in Huntsville, Alabama because all the aerospace people and the rockets and stuff, and they call it Rocket City. Yeah, that's Huntsville, Alabama. We drop the kids off at camp, then the wife and I get the road, and we drive north all the way to Lake Erie. Now, we drove through places like Nashville, Tennessee, again, Louisville, Kentucky, ate some barbecue, Cincinnati, Ohio, saw that their football stadium and baseball stadium is literally, how about literally, right off the freeway, right downtown. Terrible location for tailgating. Just a terrible spot. And kind of old and run down. Then we continue driving up, go through Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is home of the Blue Jackets. And then we headed on up to Sandusky, Ohio for our final destination. Spent a couple days up there, went to Cedar Point. If you're not familiar with Cedar Point, the Bugeye Guy's first job ever was at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Now, that's the roller coaster capital of the West Coast. They've got like 19 coasters now. I believe they have 19 coasters. They're trying to get to the elusive 20 coasters. And honestly, if you have 20 coasters, but 5 really suck, but you keep them there just to keep your count up at 20, it's kind of lame, but whatever. Anyways, as a kid growing up, I only knew Six Flags. That was the spot. In fact, I didn't realize until I got older that I was spoiled as a kid because Six Flags Magic Mountain has some kick-ass roller coasters, and most amusement parks maybe have one good roller coaster. But as a kid growing up, I always heard that Cedar Point was the roller coaster capital of the world and it had the best rides and it was the best park. And I'm like, bullshit, but okay. So while we drive up north, we stop at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. And I got to say, it is a very good park. The cool thing is it's very clean. Very clean. One thing Six Flags has cut back on lately is like the cleanliness and the give a shit and give a fuck. I think they just want to get paid, make money, and buy cheap new roller coasters because that's a whole other rant. But anyways, Cedar Point has some really good rides. But is it better than Magic Mountain? Like Magic Mountain has Viper, Cedar Point has Millennium X2 or I forget what it was called already. I would say they're comparable. I mean, they've got a flying coaster at Magic Mountain. They don't got one of those Cedar Point. Cedar Point's got a dive coaster. They don't got a dive coaster at Magic Mountain. So I get it. I understand. It was cool. The bugs, the humidity, it wasn't terrible. I don't know. It was fun. The wife and I got to spend some time without the kids, and we traveled across the place, ate at places like Skyline Chili. Y'all ever eaten at a Skyline Chili before? This is a Ohio thing. Some of the surrounding states have it too, but we had to stop because we've never had it before, and they're like everywhere there. There must be some crazy thing. Well, you go in, and like they cook everything in the middle of the restaurant. You can see it. You sit in a booth or table. I like a booth. And we ordered the spaghetti 5 ways, and we got some dogs. Now, I'm talking chili dogs. They got like their own special chili. And it's thin. The only way I can describe it is it's got like a chocolatey cinnamon kind of taste to it. It's a little weird, but I guess growing up on it, that would be normal for them. And it was good, I guess. But they put it on, and then depending if it's 3-way or 5-way, you're asking like beans and onions and stuff like that. And then they cover everything with shredded cheese, cheddar cheese. But I'm not just talking like go to Taco Bell, they sprinkle a little bit of cheese, you get home, you open up your taco, and you're like, God damn, them cheap bastards. It's like they fucking pay for the cheese themselves. There's no cheese in here. No, it wasn't like that. And if you're curious, just Google Skyline Chili. It'll pop up, and right on their homepage, you'll see what it is. It's like 2 freaking handfuls of freaking fresh shredded cheddar cheese. They just glob on top of either your dogs or your spaghetti. And that's a whole other thing that I didn't really understand, but I had to try it because obviously it must be good because everybody else gets it. But who the hell gets spaghetti with chili and shredded cheese? I mean, that sounds weird to me. Like, I don't know. But either way, we had to go, and we both ate there, and I guess it was pretty good. I mean, overall, it wasn't too bad. So then we made our way back down south, picked up the kids, went back to the airport, flew back to Vegas, and that was kind of it. So, hey, that's what the Bug Eye Guy did for his vacation. I know, right? Last year I did the same thing, only we stayed mostly in Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. This year was better because Tennessee and Alabama and Georgia and Alabama, southern Alabama, not that much fun for the Bug Eye Guy. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm not a big fan of that part of the country only because I grew up in SoCal. I'm a Southern California kid. I know I act like a redneck, but dang it, I'm a SoCal kid. I'm used to a lot of people. I'm used to a lot of traffic. I'm used to a lot of different looking kind of people, okay? There's not a church on every single street where I'm from. Alabama, you got a lot of churches. And no disrespect to any religious folks that listen to this podcast. I apologize. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not uber religious, and I don't understand how you can have a road, A1, I'm going to give them a little bit of credit, 2 miles. A 2-mile road that had 30 churches on it. 2-mile road. I don't think you have enough people in this town to fill up all these churches. And then I know how the churches are kind of different. You know, you go by the Catholic church, man, they got a nice, perfectly paved parking lot, beautiful big building. Then you go to Korean church, all run down, and you're like, it just says church so I don't have to pay taxes. I mean, it's incredible. And the Bug Eye Guy, I'm not used to that. I didn't grow up that way. So for me, it's kind of entertaining to drive down and kind of talk shit like on my podcast like right now. But to them, that's normal. I don't know. All right, getting back to the actual hockey news. How about we talk about some Vegas Golden Knights hockey, huh? Well, let's start off with the draft results. And I would go over all of our draft picks, but honestly, you can just Google it. The only one you really need to worry about is Peyton Krebs. He was our first pick. He would have been a top pick if he didn't get the unfortunate accident of some guy hitting the back of his Achilles with his skate blade, cutting it. How jacked up is that? It's one of them fluke injuries. Doctors must think he'll be okay because, hey, we took him 17th overall in the first round. We drafted a bunch of other guys, took a goalie in the 5th round. Google it if you're interested. Not spending time in the summer on it. In fact, just go on Twitter or any social media, because right now, this week, as I'm recording, development camp's going on. They were there yesterday, Thursday, today's Friday. They're there now doing practice and all that stuff. I'm sure people will be going on Facebook Live and stuff, and you'll be able to read about it. Bugeyeguy Guy lives in Vegas. I could have gone. I could have taken a couple of days off work and gone over there and watched, but why take time off work for that? And honestly, it's the development kids. Most of them are going to go off and play college or go off to their junior teams or the AHL, and the only two there that would have been interesting to really, really see, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. They're all interesting, but the only two you really want to be there and watch is Nick Hague and Cody Glass, because those dudes might actually make the team this year. So, I don't know. Moving on quickly, I have notes here that says NHL awards. Well, the NHL awards this year were interesting. I thought old Knuckle Puck did pretty good as the host. Keenan. Mark Stone didn't win the Selke. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be upset about that. In reality, it's very, very hard for a winger to actually win the Selke. It usually goes to the best two-way centerman, and this year it was Bergeron, who's always in there. He's always up for it, and Ryan O'Reilly from the Blues. And honestly, Ryan O'Reilly won the Selke. He probably deserved it, but Stone gave him a run for his money. And I'm telling you guys now, you didn't get to see Stone all year. We didn't get to see Stone, Patches, and Stasny play together healthy, good, solid for that long. Give them training camp. If they all stay healthy, the NHL is so screwed. All those people that said the Vegas Golden Knights, they got hooked up in the expansion draft. The Vegas, it's rigged. No, they were smart. They took advantage of some teams that were dumb, and they were smart. Sure, the Thomas Tatar trade at the end of the first year was kind of come back to bite us. I mean, it cost a lot for Patches. Lots for Patches. Which is why people on Twitter were saying, hey, maybe they might be trading Max Pacioretty. He just got here. They gave up a shit ton for him. I don't think he's going anywhere. Unless if a team wants to give us a smoking deal, and that taking $7 million off the books would be nice. But he ain't going nowhere. Vegas Golden Knights fans, relax. So Stone, he didn't win. We didn't win shit at the awards. Well, I take that back. Fleury got Save of the Year, and Revo got the funny whatever of the year for his goal siren sound. But, hey, is what it is. I did watch it because it is the NHL. And the cool thing about the awards is that's like the official end of the year. The year's done. The Stanley Cup champion's been crowned. A couple days later, they have their awards ceremony, and then it's done. Over. All old wounds, everything stays in the past. That was last year. And it's time to move on to this year. 2019, 2020 NHL season. Our Vegas Golden Knights are kicking off that. Ooh, let's see here. October 2nd against the stupid San Jose Sharks. Unfortunately, it sounds like Joe Pavelski might be playing for Dallas or Chicago. Latest rumors as of this podcast. That's kind of weird, man. They're not re-signing their captain. They got a lot of players they got to sign, and Old Man Thornton will probably be back for year 400. But if Pavelski were to be back, well, then Cody Eakin versus Joe Pavelski at the Fortress October 2nd. How cool does that sound? Sounds pretty cool. You know what else sounds pretty cool? Whenever the Washington Capitals come to Vegas. No one's talking about that yet. The Bugeyeguy Guy, honestly, if I had a different setup right now, you know what? I can look for it right now, but Whenever the Washington Capitals come to Vegas, we got to talk about because it's Wilson versus Reeves. Y'all remember the last time Wilson versus Reeves. Wilson left the game a little sleepy. And no, it wasn't a dirty play. Might have been a half second too late, but hey, Wilson got hurt because his head bounced off the ice. That's not Revo's fault, is it? Nah, hell no. He didn't get suspended. I want to watch it. I'm ready. I know Tom Wilson ain't ready. He's a tough man. Don't get me wrong. He's a tough SOB in the league. He's got one problem, dude. He can't get past Revo. And every time those two go at it, and trust me, they'll go at it and they'll try. Revo's had his number. I'm looking forward to that matchup. What else we got? Oh, quickly, preseason. Preseason, we got 4 home games. So the first time I'm going to get to see my Vegas Golden Knights family back in 216 in Section 217 will be November 15th. November 15th. Yeah, right, dude. We're going to be 2 months into the season, Bugeyeguy Guy. How about September 15th? September 15th against the Arizona Coyotes. Then our Vegas Golden Knights, they head on the road. And remember, it's preseason, so like only half the team will go. It'll be a lot of prospects as they're trying to finalize their final roster. But Vegas is going to Colorado, then L.A., and then San Jose. Then they're going to come back to the Fortress, and on the 25th, it's a Wednesday of September, Colorado, 27th, a Friday, against the Los Angeles Kings, and then Sunday, the 29th, against the San Jose Sharks. I swear, we're going to freaking play the San Jose Sharks like back-to-back games. I don't care. I freaking hate the stupid San Jose Sharks. I hate the freaking Ducks, too. I'm not a fan of the freaking Ducks, either. Speaking of the Ducks, Corey Perry, probably the biggest asshole on the Ducks. And, again, he's an asshole because he plays kind of dirty, kind of a lot dirty. He's an agitator. He's kind of like a Marchand up in Boston. He's always been kind of a dick. But he's the kind of guy that if he was on your team, you'd freaking love him, dude. So I'm okay with that. I'm glad he's not on the Ducks anymore. And rumors is he's drawing interest. I mean, he's been banged up the last couple years. But, hey, Corey Perry, take your ass to the Eastern Conference. Or at least take your ass to the Central Division. Get away from us. Because I don't like you. But I don't know. Let's see. Moving on. What else do I got on my notes? So it says here that I am going to rant about the NHL finally manning up and changing the rules. You know what? Normally I do the rants at the end, but I'm not going to do it this time because this is a summer podcast and there's no freaking rules in summer podcasts. So it's time for...
What the puck? Seriously, what the puck?
All right, this week's rant, as I just said, is about the NHL and their officials. And I want to be perfectly clear. The NHL had a really rough playoffs this year. Their officials were under the microscope. They made some terrible calls. For instance, ours against San Jose round 1, the bullshit offsides call against the Colorado Avalanche that went and guess who? The Sharks' favor in round 2. And then, what about round 3 with the little hand pass by the Sharks? That could have screwed the Blues. All 3 of those bullshit calls went in favor of guess who? Old Man Thornton, Pavelski, Couture, Burns, Carlson, the stupid San Jose Sharks. Yeah, but then the Blues had the last laugh, and Bennington was lights frickin' out. Congratulations to Bennington, rookie. St. Louis Blues, worst team in the NHL in January. Bennington comes up, and they win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's cool. But getting back to my rant, here's the deal. The NHL knew they screwed up in our series, and they suspended the officials for the rest of the playoffs. And then in the second round, they screwed up, and they suspended the refs for the rest of the playoffs. And then the third round, they did the same thing. That doesn't solve anything, NHL. Here's the problem, and especially for Vegas fans. Vegas fans, a lot of our fans are new to the sport of hockey. Sorry, I got to take a drink real quick. I apologize. A lot of our fans are new, so they're just learning the game. I mean, hell, we live in the frickin' desert out here. People are understanding the rules, offsides, icing, not cross-checking because we don't really know what that is, and definitely not goaltender interference because that's crazy. But for the most part, our new fans are just trying to learn the sport. And when they see in the regular season a player skate down and then another player get his stick in his skates and trips the guy, they see the official's hand go up and it's a 2-minute penalty for tripping. But for the new fans during the playoffs, it's very challenging for them to watch the game, see the exact same player where the player comes down, the other one gets his stick in the skates, clearly trips him in front of everybody, but it's not a penalty. Well, it's the playoffs. It's got to be a very egregious penalty in order for them to make a call. Well, why? Does the fucking rule book change because the playoffs come around? No. I don't understand why they do it. They don't do it any different in the NFL. The NFL screws calls up, but that I'm going to talk about in a second. So why does the NHL do that? Why are we the sport where we have all these rules and then we throw them all out the fucking window once playoffs comes because we want it to be a closer, tighter, tough, physical, defensive game? Rules are rules. If the rules aren't good for the playoffs, then why are they good for the regular season? Because if you didn't have rules in the regular season, maybe some of those teams that didn't make the playoffs would make the playoffs based on no penalties. What if you got a really good team, but they are always in penalty trouble? Always. And they don't make the playoffs because they always shoot themselves in the foot. But if they were able to squeak into the playoffs and play their style of game, and all those dirty-ass plays are now not penalties, hell, they'd probably win the cup. Here's another issue. It's 2019. How many of you listeners do not have a cell phone or do not have a 4K television TV or HD TV? It doesn't even have to be 4K. HD TV. We all do. Everybody listening to this right now has one of those two items. I know. If you don't, if you're listening to some third world shithole country and you're not supposed to say that, that's mean, that's cruel, I apologize. If you're over in some South American, South African, I don't know, some country that doesn't have running water, and you're listening to this podcast right now, well, dude, first of all, kudos to you. And I'm pretty sure even you have a phone or a television. What I'm getting at, and that was kind of, I should edit that out, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy, but that was kind of crappy. I apologize. I'm not the total asshole. My point is, everybody has access. In 2019, when a play like what happened with Cody Eakin and Pavelski, when it happened, before the officials even were done huddling, everybody, millions and millions of people around the world, had already seen what happened in slow motion because the TV guys go bloop, rewind, and they show it. We're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And then you get people arguing both ways, and it's like, until you realize if you watch every single NHL game. What the heck was that? Oh, I got my phone. I apologize for that. I had a notification come through. Oh, that was silly. What? Sorry. Moving on. Everybody watches the replay before the officials are done huddling. Why is it that the NHL doesn't have a rule that lets the officials get it right? Well, they do now, because they finally pulled their heads out of their asses and were like, NHL officials, I know you guys got totally destroyed during the playoffs, and a lot of the situations could have been resolved if we just picked up the phone and rang them to the little microphone and said, hey, can you stop the game and tell the officials that they fucked up? Or tell the officials that it was, in fact, a delay of game or was not a delay game? Or it was, in fact, egregious enough to be a major penalty instead of just a minor penalty? Because the War Room in Toronto saw every one of those fucking plays. And when they see the call on the ice and the game's over, especially the handbass with St. Louis and San Jose, the people in the War Room got to be going, oh, we are going to get fucking roasted as soon as we're getting roasted right now on Twitter. We're going to get annihilated on all the major sports shows tomorrow because that call was fucked up. We knew it was fucked up. We're in the War Room. We saw it. And because of our stupid ass rules, we are not allowed to pick up the phone and go, hey guys, you fucked up. Let's fix this now. But it's okay. Luckily for the Blues, that bullshit call didn't flip the script and give them the round win. At least they got it right. So my rant this week is unfortunately the officials. And I'm glad at least the NHL pulled their heads out of their asses and got it fixed. Because to me, we can watch a 10-minute replay to see if it's offsides. But your argument on getting major calls right or delay of games is, oh, it's going to slow down the game. It's going to take too long. How long do you think it takes them to go look to see if the guy shot it over the glass for delay game? How long? 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds to watch it a couple times just to verify? The major one would have taken, what, maybe 10 seconds to see it was like a barely cross-check and an off-balance fall? Come on, really? Is that really where we're going? Yes. That is not a good enough excuse. I don't give a shit if it takes 10 minutes to review a major call. I don't care if it takes 10 minutes to review a delay game. You know why? Because you got the call right. You got the call right. I would rather win fairly. Now, I know some of you guys say the part of the game, especially like in baseball, balls and strikes, they don't have computers calling balls and strikes, and I get it because it's part of the game. But in the NHL, in the playoffs, you throw the rule book out the window because in the playoffs, you don't care about the rule book. It's not consistent. Well, that's not consistent, and you're talking about win or lose, win or go home situations. And not to be a jerk, but as a Vegas guy, there's a lot of money being bet on these games. And a lot of people that gamble, and if you love gambling, cool. If you don't, cool. I don't care either way. But I'm saying there's a lot of people that bet serious money on sports. They don't have a problem losing. If you place a bet for $100 on a team and they lose and you lose $100, you knew that going in that you had a chance. But if you bet $100 on your team and the only reason you lost, like, I don't know, let's say if you bet on Vegas in Game 7 in the first round, or if you bet on the New Orleans Saints in the NFC Championship game, I'm just throwing those two out there because they're fresh in everybody's mind. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. You'd be a little pissed. I'd be a little pissed if I bet money and I got fucked over by the refs. If the other team beats the team I chose, I'm okay with that. But if the officials beat that team, that's a problem. And luckily, at least for the NHL, as far as the replay is concerned, it's going to be better next season. I have no idea if they're going to actually stick with the rule book in the playoffs. I would say no, because that's just the NHL's MO. And I know a lot of you old school hockey fans, you're like, Bug-Eye Guy, that's how it's always been. I know that. I get it. And it's affected my team in the past as a former Kings fan. I get it. I understand. But it's very hard to teach the new fans. It's very hard to teach a new fan goalie interference, what is and what is not goalie interference. It's very hard to explain to someone that, hey, you're new to the NHL and they've got a rule book, but they only use it for the regular season. NHL, you got to get your shit together. You got to give your boys on the ice more support. I'm not a big fan of the 4 officials on the ice. I like the old school 1 referee and 2 linesmen. I know why they went to it. They went to it to be able to get more calls right. And it's not working because of the replay. So I wouldn't even mind if they took that 4th official off the ice and put him upstairs. And the guy downstairs could have another official for that game, but instead of being on the ice, he's up top to help him. I'd be okay with that. I know some of you guys are like, oh, he's going to see everything. I go, yeah, I see your point on that too. So maybe we don't want that, but hey, I just want him to get the call right. If it benefits me, cool. If it doesn't benefit me, cool. Just get it right. All right. That's it for what the puck. What else do I got on my notes? You know, honestly, there's not much more hockey. I've got lines, which we're going to talk about real quick. Really, Vegas Golden Knights fans, this is my first podcast in over 2 months. You guys obviously know why I took a break, because it was such a heartbreak way to end, and I was kind of burnt out doing 40 straight podcasts, only missing 2 weeks. And it's summertime, and there wasn't much to talk about. As you can see, I have the list, awards, draft, GM news, all that kind of stuff. So I was still keeping track, and I was off social media, but I'm still human. I still have a TV. I still watch the NHL Network. I mean, the World Cup was going on, though. Hockey World Cup, that was kind of cool. We had Marchie and Theodore and Stoner representing Team Canada, and I hate rooting for Team Canada because I'm frickin' America. Team America, fuck yeah. But I was rooting for them because they're Vegas Golden Knights, and that was fun to watch. We got to see a little bit of Nikita Gusev, who I think is going to be fantastic. I hope we sign him. I'm going to be really kind of upset if we trade him because I think he's a future star. I don't know how we pay him in a couple years, but he's a restricted free agent. There's got to be a way to maneuver the cap enough to at least see what Gusev can do in the NHL. And that's really the question. We never really got to see Shidashev or Shipashev because he kind of had a negative attitude. He came over here, thought he was going to be this star, realized quickly, this is the Vegas Golden Knights inaugural season. This team's pretty tight, and we don't have no prima donnas. And he didn't like the fact that they wanted to send him to the AHL to get used to playing on the smaller ice, and he ended up going boo and retired and went back to Russia. Well, Gusev is coming off an MVP year in KHL, Continental Hockey League, probably the second best hockey league in the world, probably. I mean, if you're not going to play here, that's probably a really good spot to play. But yeah, he's coming over here as a star. His best friend's Nikita Kucherov, who, just won the MVP for the NHL in Tampa Bay. Those two played together. They're freaking good. Gusev could be a star, so I'm hoping he comes. Let's quickly go over the lines. This is my projected lines. Now, you got to realize, it's not even July yet. Free agency hasn't officially started yet. So this is a rough draft. This is probably going to change over the next couple podcasts that I do. And by the way, I'm planning on doing a couple between now and spring training. A couple. Has to be enough news. Like, honestly, if Colin Miller gets traded right after I do this podcast, fuck it. You're getting this podcast. I ain't recording a third one because another guy got traded. That Colin Miller news will just get put on my list, and when I record another podcast, guess what? Oh, by the way, remember I was talking last podcast, Colin Miller got traded? Well, duh, he got traded. That's how we're going to roll. All right, getting back. First line. Now, look, we're all Knights fans. This is line 1A, because you know we have a 1A and a 1B. 1A, and the reason they're A is because they've been together longer. Marchie, Wild Bill, Riley Smith. I got a circle around Riley Smith because I'll get back to that here soon. Line number 2, Patches, Stasny, and Stone. Duh. Line number 3, Tuck, Eakin, Gusev. Could be good, right? And then my fourth line, I got Carrier, Nosek / Glass. I don't think Glass is going to make the team and be on the fourth line. Nosek played on the fourth line as a center sometime last year. He's an RFA as well. He'll be like $1 million, which I think the team will absolutely bring him back for $1 million. And he could slide right into that fourth slot. Maybe Nicholas Waugh that we just picked up could slide into that fourth slot. And then, of course, you got Carrier and Revo on the outside. Some fans are probably wondering about Belmar. I don't think Belmar comes back, and it's not because the team doesn't like what he does on the ice. It's not because any of that. It's strictly money. It's strictly money, and I think they've got enough young centermen in the pipeline that they can bring up somebody cheaper. So I don't see him coming back, which kind of sucks. I know that'll be one name that I'll kind of miss. Same with like Derek Englund. I don't think Derek Englund comes back either. I mean, there's talks, but he's too old, too slow. No disrespect. It's just he's a couple years younger than me, still playing in the NHL. Defenders. Nabber. Hell yeah, McNabb's back. McNabb's the rock on the power play. Him and Englund locked it down, so they're going to have someone else in that slot. I've got Nate Schmidt, Shea Theodore, John frickin' Merrill, because I love Merrill. Team Merrill 2019. I'm still on the Merrill bandwagon. He's got one more year in his contract. Nick Holden. Nick Holden is a name that could be cycled out. They might trade him too. I haven't heard any talk of trading Nick Holden. He's decent on the salary cap. The one spot for Vegas right now, in my opinion, as a fan of the Vegas Golden Knights, the one spot that they're very deep at is defense. Jesse Granger talked about it briefly yesterday on the NHL Network, and he's right. We have a lot of depth. I've been watching Zach Whitecloud, Nick Hague. I've been all over Nick Hague. When there was all that trade talk about Branstrom, the bandwagon, and blah, he's going to be the future, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, he's too small. He doesn't fit our style. We need Nick Hague. Nick Hague's big, tall, tough, physicals, got a nice shot, can score a little bit. He's going to be a good NHL defenseman. We could play him. Jimmy Schultz, Hobie Baker finalist from last year in college. We signed him. We got to see him for one whole game. Looked pretty good. I wouldn't mind having somebody like that back there. Hell, I wouldn't mind having Hague and Schultz. I know that sounds crazy playing in the NHL with two rookie defensemen, and I know most teams wouldn't want to do that. But we got someone like Wild Bill that plays a 200-foot game. Mark Stone plays a solid 200-foot game. You got freaking offensive guys that help out. They contribute on the back end. They clean up the trash in their own zone. So, I don't know. I know that's kind of a stretch. Again, it's not even July 1st. The official free agency hasn't even started yet, but that's kind of where I'm at. And I did have Haula on my list before recording this. Haula was going to center the third line with Gusev and Tuck, which could you only imagine how that would have been? Eakin's, no disrespect to Eakin. Eakin's good too, but having a healthy Haula back, that could have been an exciting third line. That could have been the third line that we finally had some freaking consistency. Maybe they swapped that name out instead of Eakin, Cody Glass. Cody Glass, Gusev, and Tuck. I don't know, maybe. I don't know if you want 2 brand new guys to the NHL with Tuck. I don't know. It'll be interesting. The best part about it is we got plenty of time. We got until September freaking 15th till we have to know for sure. And even that's just preseason. We got until October 2nd to know for sure what these lines are going to be starting the 2019-20 NHL season. All right, that's pretty much it for hockey. Where am I at? I'm at 45 minutes. I still got 15 minutes to talk. You guys are like, Bug-Eye Guy, there ain't that much shit to talk about. And you've already told us about your vacation and eating chili on spaghetti, and you talked about some stuff and some games, but what are you going to talk about for the next 15 minutes? I says, it might not be 15 minutes, folks, but here's what I'm going to talk about. 2 things. First, Raiders Stadium update. I am not a fan of the Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, Vegas Raiders. This is going to be different for me. I'm a huge Vegas Golden Knights fan because they were an expansion team. I was a Los Angeles Kings fan. I live in Vegas, been living in Vegas for years. Vegas gets a team. I'm like, dude, wife, should we get tickets? Hell yeah, we get season tickets. We're season ticket holders, inaugural season ticket holders. We love it. We love it. The wife and I love it. My one daughter loves it. The other one doesn't love it, but she gets dragged to some games. And sometimes my brother and friends come in that place. We love it. They were a brand new team. The only way a brand new team has fans, and I've said this multiple times, but I have to remind people, the only reason brand new teams get fans is fans from other teams jump ship. I'm not a bandwagon guy. I live in a town that got a brand new team. I'm a fan of that brand new team. It is what it is. Sorry. It would be different if the Arizona Coyotes moved to Las Vegas. Would I be a fan? Probably because I love hockey and I love the Wranglers when they were here and the Aces. But honestly, the Thunder. Excuse me. Whoa. This is called live, not editing podcast, so you get the little burps. I apologize. And why I did that, I might as well take a drink, yeah? Sorry. Anyways, Vegas is getting a NFL team moving here. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Die-hard Dallas Cowboys fan. Have freaking tattooed Dallas Cowboys on my calf. I'm a Cowboys fan. I ain't no Raiders fan. It's different. It's different when a team moves. But the reason I have it on here is because the stadium is coming along really nice. They've got most of the skeleton structure up. They've started to connect most of the skeleton structure for the roof. It's coming along cool. If you're at T-Mobile Arena to watch a hockey game, the Raiders' new stadium's right on the other side of the freeway and just to the south a little bit, like catty corner across the freeway. Can't miss it when you come into town. It's going to be spectacular. Parking situation's going to suck. I have no idea what they're going to do. They're going to probably be bussing people to the stadium. It is what it is when you want to have your football stadium close to the strip. But that's coming along, and I don't care about the Raiders, but just giving you guys an update. All right, the last thing I want to talk about on episode 41 of Knights Nation podcast is, well, god dang it, I did it again. I said the last thing. There's 2 things. In the previous episode, when I recorded, I added a new segment to try out. What I did was I called random Golden Knights fans. Obviously, they're friends of mine, or I have their number. And I was recording a podcast, and I was like, hey, I'm going to call him right now and see what he says. And the first 2 people I called, of course, went to voicemail. And we left a voicemail, which is kind of weird for you guys to have to listen to me, listen to the phone ring, and then leave a voicemail. It was kind of, I don't know. And then my other buddy answered. We start talking. I'm like, hey, you're live on Vegas Knights Nation podcast, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about the Golden Knights? He's like, bro, it's really not a good time. I can't talk. And I was like, okay, I'll call you later, buddy. And then I was like, man, am I going to edit all that shit out, or am I just going to kind of wing it and leave it? So fast forward to today, I am not going to do that. I've decided that I'm going to fake it, and it's going to sound on podcasts like I'm doing that, but I'm at least going to text my buddies and go, hey, can you talk Golden Knights for 5 minutes on the podcast right now? If they say yes, I'm going to hit the button and call them, and if they say no, I'm going to move on to my next buddy. But that's going to be a new segment for next season. I don't know else what I'm going to do. I've got a lot of ideas tinkering around in my brain. I've got some sound effects and stuff that I think I'm going to incorporate a little bit, but as far as segments, I don't know. I'm going to have more guests. I've already decided I'm going away from the studio setup in my house. I'm going mobile. I've got a a really good professional recorder, and I've got a setup to where I can go record at a PT's pub or a buddy's house. So I'm going to do a couple. I might also do some Skype interviews. I've got the ability to pull the audio from Skype in. So I don't know. I just know I'm excited that the 2019-20 season's going to be kicking off here soon. I'm excited to get back to the Fortress. I'm excited to watch hockey. Folks, this time of year in the summer, all you have is Women's Soccer World Cup, which, congratulations, Team America. You beat France today 2-1. It was stressful as shit at the end, but I'm glad you guys pulled it off. Rapinoe, you're a freaking rock star. And that's it. I know some of you guys thinking, Bug-Eye Guy, it's baseball season. I'm like, that's because baseball season's forever because they play like 400,000 games a year. Baseball sucks. It's boring. Bug-Eye Guy only watches baseball in the playoffs. You can call me a fake fan. I don't give a shit. There's too many games. There's way too many games. It's very easy to go on your cell phone, click on the sports app, whichever sports app you use to get all your scores, and you click on the team you like. You go, oh, cool, we lost today 2-1. Oh, whatever. And then when playoffs come around, or maybe a couple weeks before playoffs, if your team's on the bubble trying to get in, kind of interesting. But baseball, there's way too many games, and you have a potential to watch dudes play catch for like 3 hours in the sun. No, thank you. It's just too many games, kind of boring. Basketball's done. Hockey's done. Football hasn't quite started yet. We still have another like month and a half before you really start getting the day-to-day news in football. Same with college football. So this time of year, there's like nothing to watch on TV except these three things. Now, the third one I'm going to talk about, I take very serious, and if you're not on board with that, then you don't need to listen to this podcast no more because you're crazy. But the first two you might not like, but the Bug-Eye Guy does. How do I get through this time of year? Well, the first show, Deadliest Catch. Now, if you're not a fan of Deadliest Catch, or you have no idea what Deadliest Catch is, for one, that's crazy because it's been on 17 years. It was like Discovery's biggest show for years. It's those crazy dudes out of Seattle or Alaska that go on them like 100 to 160-foot boats out into the Bering Sea, the craziest waters in the world, to catch crabs. I mean, they could just go like to West Hollywood and catch crabs, or whatever red light district that's near them. They could catch crabs there. But no, they decide to go up and freeze their balls off and risk their lives, literally risk their lives to catch these crabs, so that people that can afford crab legs or go to a buffet to eat crab legs can enjoy their crab legs. These guys are crazy. They're nuts, but they get paid really freaking good money for short periods of work. I love watching that show. I love the drama on that show. Those guys are freaking nuts. But it's entertaining, and I enjoy it. Another show I want to talk about is Wicked Tuna. Wicked Tuna and Wicked Tuna Outer Banks. They're two different shows, but it's the same show. And I know you guys are thinking, there's a little fishing theme here, Bug-Eye Guy. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't care. They're cool. They're fun. Wicked Tuna is these guys from like Gloucester and the East Coast fisheries where they go out and they catch these ginormous bluefin tuna. Now, season one kind of pissed me off because they had a couple boats. I want to say it was the Christine. I might not be positive, but these guys were some cheating motherfuckers. I'm telling you, they get in their boat and they drive out there and they're looking for the tuna. Now, in most captains in these kind of boats, they check the water temperature and the depth, and they see where the bait's at, and they kind of find a spot where they want to fish. They drop anchor. They let their rods and reels out, old school fishing with a rod and reel, and wait for the fish to swim by and bite their bait. But this Christine in this first season, man, these guys almost turned me off for good. They hire a dude in a fucking airplane. I'm telling you, they got a guy in a Cessna plane that takes off from land and flies over the freaking ocean to spot where the fish are, and then relays via radio down to those dudes on the boat. A little to your left, keep going straight, a little to your right, a little bit more to your right. Okay, looks like there's a big fatty right off the front, so just slow it down a little bit and go ahead and take the shot. They got a guy on the bow that got a harpoon and throws it right at the fish. That's some cheating-ass shit. That's almost as bad as those dudes down by Australia that trap them in a net. they find the pods and they drive a boat with a little dinghy all the way around them, and then they tighten the net. So now all these fish are fucking trapped. That's kind of jacked up too. That's kind of some bullshit fishing. Now me, I love fishing. I love deep sea fishing. I'm not too keen on the whole lake fishing. I don't want to do a lot of work. I want to know I'm going to catch something. You go out in the ocean and drop some dead stinky stuff down into the water, there's a good chance something is going to bite onto that and you're going to pull it up. Could be a shark, could be a stingray, could be a fish, good fish, bad fish. I don't care. You're probably going to catch a fish. You're at least going to get a bite. You can go to a lake and be there all day and not catch shit. Anyways, I like fishing. I enjoy it. I like the fact that you have the fish on the other end of the line and it's him versus you. And a lot of times they snap the line. The fish wins. Anyone that watches fishing shows that's not really a fisher, but you see it on ESPN every once in a while, like why they got bass fishing on ESPN. Who the hell watches that? People like the Bug-Eye-Guy watch that. But it's fish versus human, and they make it show on TV that like the humans always win. No. On this Wicked Tuna, dude, the tuna get all the way to the boat and snap the line. Here's the difference. These tuna fish are worth anywhere between $8 and $30 a pound. And that's what I like. I like when they catch the fish and they pull in the boat to the buyer and they're like, hey, we got a good one for you. And he's like, yeah, every captain tells me the same thing. I got a good one for you. And then you come up and they cut the head off and they trim it up and they tell you how much the weight is of the meat that you're actually going to get paid on. They take a tail sample and they take a core sample and they look at it. And, of course, on TV, you can't tell shit. They go, oh, it's got a lot of fat in the majors and, the core. If the core looks good, you're probably going to get a good price. And then they sit there. And the dude stares at it, and it's like he just picks a fucking random number out of his head that he thinks it's going to get at auction and then pays captain. I like to go, ooh, that fish, I think it's going to get like $17. And then sometimes I get it, I'm like, ooh, I called it. Sometimes I'm a little off. I like those kind of shows. There's one other show that we got to talk about real quick, and this is the best show during the summer. And the show I'm talking about is America's Got Talent. Now, I really like Britain's Got Talent, too, but you got to stream it online. Mostly go to YouTube and watch all the really good acts from Britain's Got Talent. But America's Got Talent is the only show out there that's, I guess it's reality TV, but it's more just a televised talent show where you could see a dance crew, magician, regurgitator, crazy-ass death-defying, knife-throwing, bow and arrow, flame-to-head kind of weird, just weird random stuff. You have no idea what you're going to see, and that's why I love America's Got Talent. I love the fact that they got the golden buzzer where, those acts that are really special, they get right onto the live shows. This year they had a deaf, autistic boy. He comes out, and he's going to sing. And everyone's going, dude, you're deaf and autistic. I mean, everyone's kind of giving the look like he's a nice boy. He's 22 years old, I believe. Ketchy is his name, I think. But anyways, he comes out and he sits at the piano. It takes a while for him to play, but he's incredible. His voice, his tone, he knew the song. He played the piano. It was amazing. It was awesome. Gets the golden buzzer. Those are the kind of things that when you watch the show, you really have no idea what's going to happen. And sometimes you're like, and me and the wife all the time, I'm like, oh, I hope he dances. I hope he dances. And I'm talking like some big chunky guy coming out. Some VGK bug-eye body style guy comes out and takes all his clothes off, starts dancing and whipping around. I mean, it's creepy and funny, and it's perfect for America's Got Talent. That's what I enjoy. If I'm going to dedicate 2 hours of my life, most of the time as an adult, you get up, you take care of family stuff, you go to work, you come home, and then you go to bed, and then you wake up and do the same thing all over again. It's called being an adult. It sucks. Kids, enjoy it while you can. But after work, depending if you had a good day at work or a bad day at work, you want to decompress. You want to relax. You want to sit on your couch, watch a little TV, read a book, whatever it is for you that you like to do. Well, the Bug-Eye Guy, once a week, I like to watch America's Got Talent. And I want to be entertained. I don't want to be stressed out. If I want to be stressed out, I'll watch sports. I don't want to be stressed out. I want to just relax. I guess dramas and stuff like that, those could kind of stress you out a little bit, or scary movies could stress you out. I want to relax. I want to watch magicians. I want to watch comedians. Comedians are funny. If you don't think comedians are funny, what the hell? You don't like magicians doing tricks where you're sitting there going, holy crap, for the last 3 minutes, I have no idea how he did that. That doesn't sound like fun. You don't want to hear a 10-year-old girl come up and sing an opera song, just an incredible opera song? You don't want to see that? You don't want to see a dude come out with a ventriloquist dummy and talk with his mouth not moving? That's fun. This show has it all. It's for everybody. It's a family show. If you're going to drop F-bombs, they're going to beep it out. I mean, it's a good show. It's free. It's on basic cable. You can get it with the rabbit ears if you still got the rabbit ears. I think nowadays you got to have the HD rabbit ears or something like that, but you can still pick it up. America's Got Talent, great show. Do I have any idea who's going to win this year? Hell no, I don't know. They just got done with auditions. I think they may have one more week of auditions. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is the show is awesome. And it's different every week. So if you didn't like the one episode you watched, well, guess what? You can have another chance next week. Turn it on. If anyone's listening to this that lives in a foreign country, maybe some Swedes or Canadians or Australians, if anyone's listening that doesn't live in America, y'all got the internet. Y'all can go to YouTube, America's Got Talent, AGT, and whatever year you want to look at. Look at 2000 and maybe it was 2017, Regurgitator. This dude, oh. Or Tape Face. Tape Face was another good one. He's got a show actually here in Vegas now. We contemplated going to it the other night. Speaking of that, no, I'm not about to talk about it on the podcast. No, not doing it. Fuck it, I'll do it. So the Bug-Eye wife and the Bug-Eye guy, had an anniversary, and we went to Gordon Ramsay Steak. Now, if you've never been to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant before, of course, if you go to Gordon Ramsay in Vegas, it's at the Paris Hotel and Casino, and of course, it's redonkulously expensive, for one, because it's Gordon Ramsay's name on it. For two, it's in Las Vegas. It's at the Paris. It was a lot of money, but, I can treat the old lady to a special night, especially on an anniversary, because I love her, and she deserves it. So we go. And we're looking at the menu, and, the whole time I'm thinking, I got to get the beef Wellington because they always cook that on Hell's Kitchen and Master Chef shows, and got to get the beef Wellington. Well, they had a sample of, all the Gordon Ramsay's signature dishes from the TV show. So, of course, we got suckered into buying that, which was twice as much money, but I don't care. I love her. We get the scallops risotto, and we get the tuna tartare, and we get this little quail egg looking thing that was the appetizer, but literally I could, I don't even know how to describe it. It was so small, and I was it was one bite. It was not even a bite. Literally, it didn't even fill my mouth, and it was gone. That's fancy eating. See, the Bug-Eye guy don't understand. And I might look like I'm a buffet guy. I'm not really a buffet guy, but I want to pay for food and be full. Well, I didn't realize I was getting 7 courses, and that was just a sample, but it was good. And then the main course was the beef Wellington with the lobster tail and some puree, some shit. I don't know, some smashed up veggies and I don't know, puree something. It's fancy. And then you get this rice pudding with caramel for dessert that was absolutely delicious. And in fact, I told the waiter, I'm like, dude, why didn't you just serve that first? In fact, that's all you had to serve me. If you brought out 7 bowls of that, my blood sugar would be through the freaking roof. But that was delicious. And then afterwards, I'm sorry I'm ranting, and I know I'm a minute and an hour, and it's going to be an hour and 5 minute podcast. I'm an hour and 10 minutes, whatever, deal with it. If you don't like it, turn it off. So then after the fact, the Bug-Eye guy and the Bug-Eye wife, we're going to go see a show. Now, living in Las Vegas, we rarely go to the Strip. And yes, we do go to T-Mobile during hockey season, but we can get there on the back road, so we don't actually have to go on Las Vegas Boulevard, not on the Strip. But we did it because it was our anniversary, and I was like, well, let's just find a show that's close. And they says, voted best comedy show for couples. I'm like, dude, I'm doing that one. So the wife and I went to a show at the Paris, and it was titled Sex Tips for Straight Women by a Gay Man. Let that sink in for a minute. And the Bug-Eye guy, bought tickets. They were reasonably priced, not too bad. And, of course, they seat my wife when she goes in. I run to the bathroom as she goes and gets the seats. And then when I come back from the bathroom, I'm literally front row right in front of the stage. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. So the show starts, and I laugh a little bit, and my wife's cracking up. And then, of course, the freaking gay guy on the stage, the lead actor, I need a volunteer. Sir, you look like a good volunteer because you're right in front of me. You're in the front freaking row. I'm thinking, shit, man, fucking bug eye guy, man, what'd I get myself into? I go up on stage, and I'm supposed to hit on this girl, and she was smoking, so it wasn't that hard. I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, I like to party because I'm the bug eye guy, and everyone's laughing. I'm like, dude, I like to party. I like to party. But anyways, it was cool. It was funny. So then they say you're done, so I leave. I come down. I'm a little embarrassed, but I'm like, whatever, dude. My wife's probably getting a kick out of it. It's funny. Ha, ha, ha. Everyone's laughing. Ha, ha, ha. My wife comes down. She's cracking up. Oh, you so funny. Huh? Then they call her ass up on stage. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Yep, go. Yep, absolutely. It was way worse for her than me. I mean, she was massaging this guy's arms and stuff in front of everybody, grabbing a little nurple. I mean, it was hysterical. I was dying. I was happy, and I was like, ha. She comes back down, walks down the ladder, comes back over to the seats, and I'm like, hey, got a little egg on your face? Rubbing it in on me? Whoo, it was way worse for you. So the show continues on a little bit, and it's funny. It goes back and forth, but they get more volunteers. Well, luckily, the Bug Eye wife and the Bug Eye guy, we already checked that box. We already volunteered for your show, so it ain't going to be us. And my wife was like, thank God, because the next one, they get up on stage, and I'm going to be as PG-13 as I can on this, but they get up on stage, 3 women, put blindfolds on, and they're cradling with one hand and stroking with the other hand in the air with blindfolds on. It was hysterical. This one girl was so pissed that she was up there. She kept like, stop stroking and giving the bird to the audience to her friends that were laughing hysterically at her, which was awesome. And my wife was like, oh, thank God I didn't have to, jerk off the air in front of everybody. And I was like, hey, you can, I don't know. Overall, we had a good night. If you come to Vegas and you're going to be here for more than just a hockey game and you want to check out the town, there's tons of good shows out there. You can go see a Cirque show. It's not my cup of tea, but people love them. There's always comedians in town. There's always magicians, and you can always go to a show like Piff the Magic Dragon. He's kind of funny. He's from AGT. Tape Face. He's funny. He's from AGT. Or you can go with your wife and let her get some sex tips for straight women from a gay dude. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know. Vegas is a cool town, man. To live here, we don't really experience it because for my family and for most of my friends, this is just a normal town. This is just where we live. I mean, for most of you listening to this that don't live here, Vegas is an experience. Vegas is a trip, but you're only talking about a small portion of the town. I mean, some people are blown away that there's over 2 million people that live in Clark County. That's the county that Las Vegas resides in, southern Nevada. Over 2 million people. When I drove from Nashville, we'll just use Nashville. Well, hell, from Huntsville all the way up to, say, Louisville, Kentucky, right before Louisville, Kentucky, that whole huge chunk of area, I don't think they had 2 million people. And we got it just in Clark County here. I get it, country living, big city. But people always are Vegas. Oh, people live there? Oh, that's crazy. I thought it was just a strip. I thought it's just gambling, hookers, and drinking alcohol and partying. Hey, we need people like that to support our city. Keep our taxes low. Keep coming. Raiders are coming to town. Oh, Sundays are going to be crazy down there. NFL, we're going to get all the big concerts. We're going to get a Final Four. We'll probably get WrestleMania. The stadium is literally right off the strip. They're going to probably build a monorail or a bridge where you can literally walk from the strip and get to the football stadium. It's gonna be crazy. I don't know. Have I taken up enough of your guys' time? I must have, because I'm starting to stumble over my words. It's a little hot in here where I'm doing this right now. And yeah. Well, I'm back. I guess that's kind of cool, right? Vegas Golden Knights fans, you guys are like, ooh. And honestly, this podcast should already been out. Obviously, we can blame Eric Haula and the Golden Knights for that, but I needed a break. And I took the break. And I started getting text messages, and I started getting people reaching out, probably starting about 3 weeks ago, like, hey, Bug-Eye Guy, you going to do another podcast? Hey, where you been, man? You're not posting anything on social media. Your page has been kind of quiet. What's up? Taking a break, relaxing, enjoying the summer, enjoying a break away from the Vegas Golden Knights, enjoying a break from the podcast, just relaxing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody listening right now, take a day or two, a week, whatever you can, and just go do something for you. If it's sitting in your backyard or sitting at the beach or going to a cabin or sitting by a lake or going fishing, whatever it is, whatever that makes you find your Happy Gilmore style happy place, do it. The Bug-Eye Guy's happy place was road trip, spending time with the wife, hanging out in Vegas by the pool in the summertime, relaxing. Enjoy it. I have. And take a break from social media. I swear to God, it's going to be the best thing you ever did. I trust me. It was huge for me. And I know some of you guys are like, but, I got to keep it consistent because I got to keep the algorithms up and I got to make sure everyone sees my stuff and I got to stick to the schedule. That was part of my problem. Part of my problem towards the end of the year was the freaking stress of, I got to do a podcast. Especially when it was podcast Fridays. I started out last year on Fridays. That was terrible because I work Monday through Friday. Moving it to podcast Monday, surprise, I got the whole weekend to do a podcast. I don't have to worry about it. Stressful. It shouldn't be. This is fun. This whole conversation right now is just fun. The whole reason I did the podcast was just fun. But now I'm done. Episode 41's done. Over with. If Colin Miller gets traded in 5 minutes, which I'm going to refresh right now, let's just check really, really quick. Are you kidding me? 4 minutes ago. Okay. Vegas Golden Knights, I got some breaking news on this podcast. Oh, I am so glad that I refreshed. I am so glad. You have no idea how happy I am. Report. Buffalo Sabres acquired defenseman Colin Miller from Vegas. It's being reported Colin Miller traded to the Buffalo Sabres. I'm trying to find out what we got for him. It says 2 draft picks. A second round in the 2021 and a 5th round pick in the 2022 NHL draft. The Vegas Golden Knights have officially dumped Colin Miller and his $3.875 million contract. Bob McKenzie from TSN was the first to report it. I want to see if they took Clarkson's money. Bear with me for a second. It doesn't say that the Clarkson money was part of the deal, which concerns me a little bit, which means they're probably going to have to make one more move. Yeah, they're going to have to make one more move. I don't know. This might just be preliminary. That Clarkson money might be part of the deal, but maybe not. Either way, Vegas Golden Knights, it looks like Colin Miller for a 2nd and a 5th shipped off to the Buffalo Sabres. That's crazy. We knew it was coming. Thank God I refreshed Twitter before. I would have been so pissed off. You have no idea how pissed off I would have been if I recorded 2 hour-long podcasts and within 5 to 20 minutes after the fact, the Golden Knights traded someone. That would have pissed me off. But I'm so glad. Sinbin's posting something right now, so it's got to be official. I see it. Yeah, it's all out there. Yep. Colin Miller, gone. It was cool while you were here, I guess. Miller time is officially over in Vegas, and I'm okay with that. All right, Vegas Golden Knights fans, be on the lookout for episode 42 of Knights Nation podcast. Give me a couple weeks, probably, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, unless of obviously some unless there's some crazy news pops in the next week. Like really, it has to be over the top news, like trading Stone and Stasny or something. If not, expect a podcast the next couple weeks. Thanks so much for tuning in again. I've missed you guys, but I've also enjoyed the break. That's it. I love you. And as always, duh, Bug-Eye Guy. Go Knights, go.
You've been listening to the Knights Nation podcast. For a full recap of this podcast or to listen to past episodes, visit knightsnation.vegas. Your host, the VGK Bug-Eye Guy, is available on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at VGK Bug-Eye Guy and at Knights Nation LV.